Let's explain those Badlands. That's a hell of a name.
Consider myself a conspiracy buff at all, but when they get a lot of coincidences, I get a little suspicious and call me crazy.
Polls, weird talk shows, crazy groups every Sunday telling you what you think.
The Republicans and the Democrats conspire with one another, which they do.
There is a conspiracy by big business against American democracy.
We know that there was a conspiracy.
There was a conspiracy.
There was no conspiracy.
Was there a conspiracy?
It's a communist conspiracy directed out of Moscow.
The right-wing conspiracy.
Communist conspiracy is a deliberate and predictable plan of action to subvert the world.
Right-wing conspiracy.
International criminal conspiracy.
Vast right-wing conspiracy.
Great conspiracy.
And all these conspiracy theories.
Was there a conspiracy? I don't know.
Perhaps themselves even involved in the conspiracy.
There was
a conspiracy.
No evidence
of a conspiracy.
Anybody would have to be a fool nowadays to dismiss conspiracies.
Conspiracy theory.
Cockeyed conspiracy theory.
Conspiracy theory exists because there really is conspiracy.
But they never told a soul about it. In fact, they engaged in a vast conspiracy.
You get accused of being a conspiracy theorist, of being a
The
paranoid.
historical context of actual conspiracy.
A conspiracy of bad people.
As always happens at some point in a conspiracy. One night, Cousin Eddie got drunk in a honky-tonk and spilled the beans.
There was a conspiracy, and government was involved in it.
Conspiracy existing within the United States government.
There was a conspiracy.
A
conspiracy by the CIA.
The conspiracy of a few.
Dark, secretive, conspiratorial, evil.
Then it was certainly a deliberate conspiracy.
High-level conspiracy.
The do's and the don'ts and the rights and the wrongs of the various conspiracy theories that are good.
Possibility of a conspiracy.
In a moral sense, I think it was a conspiracy.
One conspiracy, that's all I'm talking about.
Full of speculation, conspiracy theories, and the like.
And what's going on here? You began to wonder what was really happening in America. I mean, was there a vast conspiracy afoot?
You know, there could have been a conspiracy.
Do you think you're obsessed with conspiracy?
Conspiracy theory.
A conspiracy.
I'm afraid you'll catch me. I'm afraid you'll catch me. A conspiracy would do the job nicely.
Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of your favorite Monday night show, Baseless Conspiracies. And I hope you guys are all ready to be triggered. Zach, how you doing?
I'm doing good, John. Trying to take care of a copyright takedown request.
Yeah, it was pretty gay. You got taken down.
Yeah, it's a nearly 3-hour video, and I'm sure it's referring to maybe a 30-second clip, if that.
Don't they give you a timestamp on that?
They do give me a timestamp, but the timestamp that is referred to is the outro for my video. So there's nothing that they own in that video at that time. So it's useless.
Well, that's a bummer. We've gotten that a bunch of times. So, I don't know. It is what it is, man. It's not monetized anyway, right? So
No, but I want the video to stay up.
We'll just clip that part out and...
No, that's the thing. I don't have the option to. My only option is either to go through copyright school or email the people who took it down. Like normally, I mean, I've gotten these before and I just like clip that portion out of the video. Like
you
this is
to be re-educated, Zach.
Yeah, exactly. I do. That's what they want. They want me to be re-educated.
So stupid. YouTube is the fucking worst. We're still waiting on our review for the Badlands channel. We submitted it November 17th, and it said it usually takes a month to do the review. And it's been, what is that? Almost 3 months now? We're approaching 3 months and we still haven't gotten approved or even denied. We haven't gotten word back at all.
Yeah, something tells me it's probably not going to happen. That's why I haven't even bothered to try. I've been eligible for monetization for a while and I'm just, it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. So
yeah,
even if this doesn't work, like I'm not really going to lose any sleep about it, but it annoys me that they would try to take the whole video down when, you know, less than 1% of it equals something that they claim that they own. Like I'm playing a video off of Twitter and I have a whole bunch of other stuff. I'm giving commentary. I'm pausing the video. Like I just know because that's what I do.
Yeah. Oh, well, man. How's your weekend? We haven't talked since. No, we talked Friday.
We did.
Did the Epstein files come on Friday? We did.
They did, but I mean, you know, it was 3 million documents, and we'd only have an opportunity to go through precious few of them. But since that time, had a lot of time to go through a lot of this stuff, and it looks like a lot of other people have as well. And funny enough, that's what we're going to be talking about tonight.
Yeah, I did see people in the chat saying like, "Yo, I'm sick of the Epstein files," and I'm too, man. I feel you. I feel that so much. I'm so sick of these things, but we need to address some of the, like, there's just so much garbage out there, man.
Yeah.
There's so much shit getting posted. Some of it's really interesting. There are some really interesting things.
Definitely.
Garbage. And the show is a baseless conspiracy show. So we can't like see a conspiracy in front of our eyes that is totally baseless and not be like, yo, that's baseless.
Agreed.
So that's probably what we're going to do.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was perfect.
Yeah. But
anytime we can rip it from the headlines.
Yeah, if you're upset with this episode and the topic, it is all Zach's fault. But if you enjoy it and you like it, then I take full credit.
There actually was one thing that we have discussed in the past, and you had asked me directly about. Actually, I don't remember if it was here or if it was on OnlyLands or something, but we were talking about the idea that there were tunnels on Epstein Island.
Yeah.
And there is an email that I found which deals with tunnels specifically.
Yeah, I saw that one too.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's like proof, but it's intriguing. You know, we'll get to that. I have like 40 tabs open of stuff you sent, and
yeah,
we'll get through it all. But before we do, did you see Tulsi Gabbard's banger letter that she sent?
Is it in response to her ethics complaint?
I think it's more so in response to her just showing up in Fulton County.
Oh, well, no, I haven't
just
seen
posted
it.
like an hour ago.
I'd love to see it.
Okay, I mean, we don't have to read through the whole thing, but it is kind of a banger, and we're definitely going to talk about this on my show tomorrow, and I'm sure you'll talk about it on your show. You'll probably watch my show to understand what it's about, so you can talk.
My
about
show
it
comes on at 5 o'clock. It'll be, I mean, like
my show's at 1.
You're talking about your 1 o'clock show.
Yeah.
No, I'm preparing my show at 1 o'clock. So
by watching my show, just a minute. Just kidding, but yeah, well, let me show you this quick. So she posted, is that on the screen? No, it's not. Hold for processing. Get my bearings straight. There we go. Oh, she posted this an hour ago. Contrary to the blatantly false and slanderous accusations being made against me by members of Congress and their friends in the propaganda media, the Office of the DNI has and will continue to take action under my statutory authorities to secure our nation and ensure the integrity of our elections. My response to Congress. So you were talking about that Wall Street Journal hit piece, which is a hit piece. Did you read that thing?
No, I didn't bother. I saw the headline and I knew that it was just going to be fake, so I didn't bother. I know that the guy who made the claim is being represented by the same guy who represented the fake whistleblower on Ukraine, Eric Charamella. Once I read that, I was like, I've seen enough.
Dude,
I don't even need.
It's beyond fake. This is the story. Some guy made a claim about Tulsi Gabbard, but the Wall Street Journal wasn't allowed to tell anybody what it was because they don't even know what it was because it was that sensitive.
Yeah.
They just know that the claim was made, but we can't tell you what it is. We don't know what it is, but the claim is there and Congress can't see it because of how classified it is. But also, like at the end of the article, like the Inspector General did look into it and determined that it wasn't credible, but still the claim is there and nobody knows what it is, but it's damaging to Tulsi and Congress can't see it.
So
it's totally real.
I guess I did know everything.
You did. It's so retarded.
Oh, that's horrible. God, these people. Oh,
Yeah.
That's so funny. Yeah, but it obviously total waste of time. And so a big nothing burger, an attempt to try to smear Tulsi Gabbard. I think it's pretty transparent that they are freaking out that she was even in Fulton County.
Oh yeah. Totally. And this is what this letter is mostly in response to. So we can read through it if you want. I mean,
okay, yeah, let's take a look. I'd love to see what she says.
All right. So
Honorable Mark Warner. Okay.
Yeah, she specifically addresses Warner, and Warner is the one who's like freaking out on Twitter. I mean, a lot of them were. But
he did an interview freaking out the day after.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Yeah, he was. They interviewed him in Congress, and he was basically like, either there's malign foreign influence or Tulsi Gabbard is trying to steal the election or something stupid like that.
Yeah, they said if there was, I think in his Twitter post he said if there is malign foreign influence, it's her duty to tell the intelligence community or the intelligence committees in Congress about it.
Yeah.
And if there's not, then she's not allowed to be there or something. That's essentially what it is.
Yeah, she's not allowed to perform law enforcement duties or something like that.
Yeah. So this is what she says. I've received your letter regarding my presence at the FBI's execution of a search warrant on the office of the clerk of the court of Fulton County, Georgia on 28 January 2026. And can I just say, it is like a pet peeve of mine when people like write out the dates like this. Just like do 1/28/26. Like you don't need to do 28 January 20. It's just out of order. I don't like it. I don't know why.
It's that's like the European way of doing it.
Yeah, and we freaking won a revolution against them, so we don't need to use how they structure dates, right?
Yeah.
This is gay.
Anybody from Hawaii here?
Oh, you froze. So I'm going to keep reading.
Go ahead.
Okay, now you're unfrozen.
Okay.
For a brief period of time, I accompanied FBI Director Bailey and Atlanta Acting Special Agent in Charge Pete Ellis in observing FBI personnel executing that search warrant issued by the U.S. District Court of the Northern District of Georgia pursuant to a probable cause finding. My presence was requested by the president and executed under my broad statutory authority to coordinate, integrate, and analyze intelligence related to election security, including counterintelligence, foreign and other malign influence, and cybersecurity. The FBI's intelligence counterintelligence divisions are one of the 18 elements that I oversee. In 12 FBI field offices across the country, including Atlanta, the senior FBI ASD in charge or S special agent in charge is dual-hatted as my domestic DNI representative. I didn't know that, which is interesting.
I didn't either, yeah.
The Domestic DNI Rep program was established in 2011 through a memorandum of understanding between the ODNI and the FBI. Domestic DNI reps are distributed by region and focus on specific domestic issues of concern or interest, including threats to critical infrastructure. I visited several. What was that?
I said, there we go. Critical infrastructure.
Yeah, it gets better, man. I visited several of my domestic DNI reps at FBI field offices across the country. While visiting the FBI field office in Atlanta, I thanked the FBI agents for their professionalism and great work and facilitated a brief phone call for the president to thank the agents personally for their work. He did not ask any questions, nor did he or I issue any directives. I thought it was notable she left that in there. She's like, yeah, while we were down there, President Trump called in and is like, yo, thanks, bros. Good job.
Attaboy.
Yep. ODNI's Office of General Counsel has found my actions to be consistent and well within my statutory authorities as the DNI. And the General Counsel, what's his name? Can you look up who the General Counsel is right now? He's a young guy. I guess I don't know if it'd be the DNI. Yeah, it would be ODNI's Office of General Counsel. Mark Ellis is over
Jack Dever.
Okay.
That was October of 2025.
Okay, no, it's not who I'm thinking of. But anyway.
Okay.
I address your questions as follows. Number one, election security is a national security issue. Amen. Amen.
Amen. Love it.
Interference in U.S. elections is a threat to our republic and a national security threat. The president and his administration are committed to safeguarding the integrity of U.S. elections to ensure that neither foreign nor domestic powers undermine the American people's right to determine who our elected leaders are. Towards that effort, the president tasked ODNI with taking all appropriate actions towards that effort. Wait, I skipped a line. Taking all appropriate actions under my statutory authorities towards ensuring the integrity of our elections, and specifically directed my observance of the execution of the Fulton County search warrant. As I publicly highlighted on 10 April 2025, ODNI has been actively reviewing intelligence reporting and assessments on election integrity since I took office. As part of the National Counterintelligence and Security Center's responsibility to lead, manage, and coordinate counterintelligence matters related to election security, NCSC personnel traveled with me to Fulton County to support this effort. They were not present during the execution of the warrant. I need a break, so you should say something.
All right. So just wanted to point out that in her opening, when she was discussing her possible reasons for being there, when she said malign and other influence, which everybody is focusing on the idea that it must be malign foreign influence, but malign influence can obviously come from inside the building as well. The Director of National Intelligence has broad authority to coordinate, integrate, and analyze intelligence related to election security. To preserve the integrity of our elections, we must understand whether there has been foreign or other malign interference in our elections and whether vulnerabilities exist in our election infrastructure that could be exploited in future elections. To enable this, it is critical that the intelligence community work with intra-agency partners like the Department of Homeland Security, FBI, and other IC elements to ensure coordination of efforts and intelligence sharing and integration. Section 102A of the National Security Act of 1947, as amended, provides the DNI with robust authority to coordinate and integrate national intelligence, which includes intelligence pertaining to foreign intelligence and counterintelligence threats to election processes and infrastructure, e.g., election voting machines and software, voter registration databases. This includes direction for the DNI to have access to all national intelligence consistent with other law, as well as authority to establish objectives, priorities, and guidance for the IC to ensure timely and effective collection, processing, analysis, and dissemination of national intelligence. Section 119C of the National Security Act of 1947, as amended, requires the ODNI maintain a capability to analyze and integrate intelligence on foreign attempts to... You'll have to flip to the next page. Influence U.S. policy or public opinion, and to give assessments and warnings to policymakers and Congress. You want to jump back in? Or do you want me to finish this?
I can keep going. Okay. Section 6508 of the National Defense Authorization Act of 2020 provides for the DNI to designate a national counterintelligence officer within the NCSC to lead, manage, and coordinate CI counterintelligence matters related to election security. This responsibility includes addressing risks posed by foreign powers to election infrastructure, such as voting systems and voter registration databases. NCSC's CI integration, coordination, and outreach responsibilities under the Counterintelligence Enhancement Act of 2002 and delegated authorities as the National Intelligence Manager for CI in accordance with Executive Order 12333 and Intelligence Community Directive 900 are leveraged to support these efforts. And this is where it gets real fun. Through Executive Order 13848, imposing certain sanctions in the event of foreign interference in the United States election, first issued on 12 September 2018, the president declared a national emergency on the threat of foreign interference in U.S. elections and directly tasked the DNI with assessing foreign interference after every federal election. Can you actually read from there? Because I have to look something up really quick.
That assessment must identify the nature of any foreign interference and any methods employed to execute it, the persons involved, and the foreign government or governments that directed, sponsored, or supported it. That executive order also directed the heads of all federal agencies to provide any relevant information to the DNI to execute that direction. President Biden extended this national emergency on 9 September 2022, and President Trump did so again on 29 August 2025, demonstrating a bipartisan commitment towards addressing this threat to the integrity of our elections.
Okay, hold on. Stop. We got to stop there because I'm in love with this executive order. I've researched it extensively.
Yeah.
It is weird to me. One, technically, President Biden did not extend it on 9 September 2022. He did it on 7 September 2022. It was just uploaded to the Federal Register on 9/2022. I'll show you that. I'll prove
Semantics. If that's relevant, I'd love to know how.
No, it's more just me being like a douchebag about it. But what is interesting is she only mentioned 2 of the 7 continuations. It was continued by Trump in 2019, and then again in 2020, and then the auto pen 4 years in a row, and then Trump one more time. So why didn't she mention any of the other times? Because technically, by like her narrative, the public narrative, normie narrative, it was extended by Biden 4 times. Biden technically extended it more than Trump did.
You are correct, but I think that her effort here was simply to highlight the bipartisan nature of its continuation. Both Biden and Trump at various times extended the executive order. I think it just would have been, it's already very wordy. All right. She has exhaustively gone through and given the rationale for why she was there. I suppose it makes sense to me. I understand why you're harping on it. But I think that maybe just, to make it a little bit easier for Warner to digest, she's just simplifying the process.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay. I think
right.
her mentioning this is important because it's these assessments is where we got like the 2016 ICA that came before this was put in place, but it's mandated an assessment like that every year after that, every election. We've had a 2020, 2022, 2024. And this is how the intelligence community has been warping the narrative and weaponizing it in a lot of ways to say that our elections are secure. And we've already seen 2016's ICA was basically debunked. That's part of the RICO that they're looking into right now to show how they weaponized that to use it against Trump and spark off this whole Russiagate thing.
Right.
I wonder if we're going to see that multiple of these ICAs have been weaponized in the same way. I think that's where this
that would
but
certainly
anyway,
be interesting. Yeah.
I can keep reading here.
Okay.
Pursuant to Presidential Policy Directive 4, issued by President Obama on 26 July 2016, ODNI is the lead federal agency for intelligence support for coordinating responses to any significant cyber incidents, which may include intelligence related to the cybersecurity of election systems. Furthermore, pursuant to National Security Memorandum on Critical Infrastructure and Security and Resilience, NSM 22, issued by President Biden on 30 April 2024, ODNI is the lead agency for intelligence support to any significant cyber incident to critical infrastructure, to include election infrastructure. Finally, ODNI is the lead intelligence agency in the Joint Cyber Planning Office, which coordinates and oversees the nation's strategy to secure critical cyber infrastructure, including cyber infrastructure used for elections. She's harping on that. Like, I have all these justifications. All of them are cyber. A lot of them are cyber, having to do with the election infrastructure being deemed as critical infrastructure, which was done by Obama's director for the DHS, Jay Johnson, back in 2017, I guess. It was January 7th of 2017, I think, or 11th.
Yeah, there's really no comeback for Warner on this. I mean, she's basically like, guess what? I outrank you. All right. So 3, ODNI will not irresponsibly share incomplete intelligence assessments concerning foreign or other malign interference in U.S. elections. As I publicly stated 10 April 2025, there is information and intelligence reporting suggesting that electronic voting systems being used in the United States have long, been vulnerable to exploitation that could result in enabling determined actors to manipulate the results of the votes being cast with the intent of changing the outcome of an election. ODNI and the IC continue to collect and assess all available intelligence concerning this threat to ensure the security and integrity of our elections. Searching through intelligence holdings and conducting assessments with analytic rigor and excellence is an arduous and often time-consuming process. However, that process ensures that the IC's finished intelligence products are objective, independent of political considerations, and based on all available sources. I will share our intelligence assessments with Congress once they are complete. Section 501A2 of the National Security Act of 1947, as amended, specifically highlights that the congressional accountability requirements of that act do not require that the president obtain approval from the congressional intelligence committees before initiating a significant intelligence activity. Moreover, the United States District Court for the Northern District of Georgia issued the search warrant on the office of the clerk of the Court of Fulton County under seal. As such, I have not seen the warrant or the evidence of probable cause that the DOJ submitted to court for approval. Therefore, the ODNI had no ability, authority, or responsibility to inform the committee about the search warrant ahead of its execution. If you have any questions, you may contact Sarah Lynn Colley, Assistant Director of National Intelligence for Legislative Affairs. Sincerely, Tulsi Gabbard.
I mean, this letter could have just said, like, hey, fuck you, Warner. But this is a much nicer and more enlightening way to do it, because she didn't know it was in the warrant. She hasn't seen the evidence that was in the warrant or that the DOJ submitted, yet she knew it was taking place and she was there when it was happening. Like, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Seems a little fishy. I don't know if I believe that last paragraph fully.
I think that by stating that, I mean, it was under seal. It was filed under seal. But the idea that the ODNI would not be read in before they go in there is a little ridiculous. I mean, it was under seal, obviously, for somebody like Mark Warner. It was under seal for anybody else who wasn't directly in the room being read in. But her saying it like that is, I mean, it pretty much is a figurative fuck you to Mark Warner and anybody else on the committee who might have a problem with the fact that she was there.
Yeah. I mean, she spent this whole letter being like, I have every authority to investigate election fraud. I have all these things. These are all the reasons. These are the authorities. But also, I don't even know what was in the warrant. I don't know what evidence they presented. I don't know why they were there. Like, okay, Tulsi, but this is baller. I'm going to talk about this a lot tomorrow on my show and go over some other stuff. There's some interesting data points here. So
I think
fascinating.
Love it.
Anyway, how about we get a quick word from our sponsors, and then we could maybe get into the Epstein stuff and then come back to our sponsors. We have one more for a little bit later.
Okay, sounds good.
Let me see what I got. Let me see if we got any Rumble Studio ads real quick. We do. Let's do a quick Rumble Wallet. And then we'll do maybe some soft disclosure and then come back around for the rest of them in the middle of the show. So, you guys, they can freeze your accounts. They can shut off your cards. Hold on, let me remove that. There we go. They can lock you out of your own money overnight. Banks don't protect you. They control you. That's why real financial freedom starts with ownership. Introducing Rumble Wallet, a non-custodial wallet built for people who refuse to give up control. With Rumble Wallet, you don't just buy digital currency like Bitcoin and Tether. You can own Tether Gold, real gold on the blockchain. Through Tether Gold, you get direct ownership of physical gold bars, each one fully allocated, verifiable by serial number, purity, and weight. This isn't paper gold. This isn't an IOU. This is real gold without bank vaults, storage fees, or gatekeepers. You can buy, sell, or move it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even when traditional gold markets are closed. And if you want, Tether Gold can be redeemed for physical gold. That's power. And when you support creators on Rumble, you can tip them directly using Rumble Wallet, a peer-to-peer and outside the banking system. No permissions, no middleman, no cancel button. This wallet is yours forever. Thank you to Rumble Studio and Rumble Wallet. And then let's get a quick spot from ourselves over at Soft Disclosure.
The following ad is rated M for mature. Soft Disclosure wants you to get naked this Valentine's Day with limited edition his and her bundles that save you 20% off the individual retail prices. Proprietary oil infusions, grass-finished beef tallow, goat's milk from American goats, locally grown herbs and ingredients. Soft Disclosure is putting America First fruits on your skin.
And for these sexy bundles, we've added an all-new boar's haired beard brush and a solid jade gua sha. And the reason I'm here is because Alpha doesn't know how to say these words.
Gusha. His, hers. We need a moment to calm down. Don't hide your skin. Disclose it. Get naked this Valentine's Day with Soft Disclosure. Head over to softdisclosure.com and save 20% off individual retail prices with our his and hers customizable bundles, and use promo code NAKED to save 15% off the rest of the site. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. Promo code does not apply to bundle discounts.
Awesome. Softdisclosure.com, guys. Get your Valentine's Day bundle. And yeah, we got taken out of the feature spot pretty early.
I saw that. Yeah, Fresh and Fit came in to replace us.
Was it Fresh and Fit?
It's Fresh and Fit.
It's Steven Crowder, which...
Well, no, I just looked and it just said Fresh and Fit. Maybe they just removed Fresh and Fit and put Steven Crowder up there instead.
Oh, maybe it is Fresh and Fit. God damn it. That's whatever. Anyway, let's maybe get to the conspiracy tonight. So
yeah,
everybody's probably Epsteined out, but we're gonna go through some of the most viral like posts, claims that are out there, and just talk them through. Some of them appear legitimate. Some of them, like what is said in the post, isn't what is said in the email. Yeah. Some of them are just totally ridiculous, and we'll see what happens. So I could just start going through my like the links I have here.
I'd say that's probably the best way to do it.
So you sent over a bunch, and I had a bunch that I wanted to go through originally too. The number of people, like wealthy individuals across the globe, that were exchanging emails with Epstein is, I mean, I shouldn't say shocking, because it's really not. I mean, this is like the same thing happening with Epstein. Like this is what they do. There's a huge, big elite club of elite wealthy people.
Yeah.
Those same ones at Davos, like they're all interacting with each other. They're meeting up everywhere. They're doing things. And we kind of got a glimpse of that. Here's a post you sent over from Ariane de Rothschild, a French banker, and from the Rothschilds family, of course, shared with Epstein that her family supported Hitler in mass destruction to gain more power, and also asked if he got her video with the girls. I can read the email here. I know it's true. Oh, let me go down. See, and this is what I hate, is because so many people like cut off the context.
Well, let me actually give you the real email, because
why don't you pull it up?
Yeah, so this is the way, what you see on screen there is what was shared, and it kind of leaves out some important context, because you lose like the full email. So let me share screen, and there we go. All right, so that should be good. All
Zoom
right.
in.
So, yes. All right, so let's go down to the beginning of the email chain. Jeffrey Epstein emails her, and he says, "I thought you'd find amusing that in a Harvard class on Hitler, they told the story of when he was poor. He lived in a shelter for the homeless and destitute that had been financed by the three wealthy families, the Gutmans, the Epsteins, and the Rothschilds. It turns out to be accurate. Now, also, everybody keep in mind that Epstein is in a business relationship with the Rothschilds. He's getting paid $25 million at minimum for work that he's been doing representing a company that's owned by the Rothschilds, Evelyn, I believe, the Rothschild. And she replies, whether it's a way to say that generosity is not rewarded or that the conspiracy theory still exists is quite pathetic. Now, this is cut out of the email that was shared on the post. And he replies, first, it turns out to be 100% true, which it was. Hitler was selling his clothes and artwork and living in a shelter funded by Jews. Epstein, Rothschild, Gutman. No conspiracy. The Epsteins were the Vienna bankers, bought their bank on the ring, hence still Palais Epstein. Where are you? I'm in bed with your cold. And she says, I know it's true, but regularly used to say the Rothschilds planned and supported Hitler in mass destruction to gain more power. So she actually directly refutes the claim that is in the tweet. Like, the words are in the email, but it is not like she's saying it is 100% true because we did support Hitler so that we could, establish, this destruction of Europe. I'm in the Maldives also with a cold since yesterday. I've been diving a lot, back to Europe on the 3rd. All right. And he says, I'll be there in 20 to 30. Now, this is where, I'm a little bit more concerned. She says, great. Did you get my video with the girls? And there's actually a couple more emails after that where she's trying to send him this video. It's too large. He can't get it. He's very concerned about getting it. He asked her to send it to Dropbox. She ends up sending it with Mail Drop, which is, I believe, the mail drop service that Apple uses. So it's kind of like the way for them to transfer large files by email.
Is there any context as to who the girls are?
No. And that was my next point, is that, you've got this like loose context. It's her sending video of girls. We don't know if that's her and her children because they're friends. We don't know if that's girls that he's supposed to review for, use or sale or anything like that. But I've seen a lot of posts where, something about kids is mentioned, and it's not clear at all that it could go in one way or the other, nefarious or otherwise. Now, I would happily say that based upon my knowledge of Jeffrey Epstein's predilections and the predilections of what appear to be most of the global elite, I'm generally speaking going to err on the side of a nefarious purpose. There are certainly some emails which seem to be explicitly nefarious.
Those are the ones I want to see, because if I'm being honest, Zach, I got accused of defending a pedophile on Twitter.
I saw that
because I was like, I wasn't defending, I was defending the truth. Like, somebody posted the whole ball thing, and it was clearly like the OCR software they were using to scan these emails and reproduce them, and it changed bank to ball. I'm like, that doesn't say ball. Like, that's just the truth. It's meant to say bank, not ball.
Right.
Like, his bank account name was not Ball the Satan or whatever. And people got mad at me for it. And so I'm not like, that's not what I'm doing here. I'm just simply playing devil's advocate a little bit, because if there's one thing I haven't seen come out of these emails yet, is any sort of proof that they were raping little kids and running a sex trafficking ring. There hasn't been actual proof of that yet, as far as I've seen. And so maybe we'll come across some of those tweets or some of that stuff when we go through this. I don't think I've read every single tab, but it's not in there as far as I'm aware. Have you seen any proof? And I'm saying proof, guys, not like well, did you get my video with the girls? This is not proof of anything. This is like, okay, if we're going to assume, and my confirmation bias tells me that he was raping little kids, then yeah, my confirmation bias would lead me to believe like that's what this means. But that doesn't hold up in court.
I mean, no, there is nothing that I've seen which is discussing transfer of money for the receipt of children. There is plenty of discussion about kids in a way that, is uncomfortable knowing what we know about Jeffrey Epstein.
But do we know that though? That's my point.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's a convicted pedophile, John. I mean, like he had a history of bringing 14-year-old girls into his Palm Beach mansion so that he could get massages and hand jobs from them. I mean, and like, there's definitely a history.
I've read through the case files. Again, not trying to defend him, but like the insinuation from everybody online is like, these are kids. Like there's a picture being shared around of Epstein with a little girl on his lap. They cropped out the mother standing right next to him. But it's like, oh, look at these disgusting people. I think General Flynn even shared it, which is
I saw that. There's
wild.
There's one that I sent of him. It's like he had a silver plate made with a picture of him biting a young girl's ass, which is definitely
we'll get to that one. Let's look at that one.
Yeah,
because again, no context.
No, but I mean, I don't know anybody who would be comfortable with that.
Yes, and guys, I know he's a convicted pedophile. I've read the court cases. Like they were hiring people to give massages. Some of them were underage. It's not it was terrible. It's bad, but it's not what everybody's been saying the Epstein files were leading up to this. That's my point here. Okay, again, not trying to defend a pedophile by any means. What they did was terrible, and they deserve to go to prison for what they did. But what everybody said the Epstein files were, like this elite pedophile, satanic sex trafficking ring, I haven't seen a lick of evidence of that yet.
Well, let me suggest something to you. There's a couple of emails that I sent you where they're discussing the viewing of torture videos.
Okay, let's get into it.
Yeah, can you think of any reasonable explanation for watching torture videos? Or
I'm not going to answer that until I see the emails.
Oh, okay. Well, hold on. Let me. They're in that giant thing that I sent you, but let me.
Well, I have a bunch of them open here, so.
Yeah, let me just see if. My gosh. Okay.
How about we'll get to it. Let's just go through these one at a time. We'll get there.
Yes. Go ahead.
So this is the next one you sent over. The sender of this email giving Jeffrey Epstein permission to kill him appears to be Suzanne Hamblin, a financial advisor and founder of the adoption agency Kids to Families.
Yes.
The email here, I give you permission to kill him. He's apparently with Olga. He lied to you and he lied to me. Wasn't that talking about like RFK Jr. or something?
I don't know. That's the thing. There's no I don't have the email. I don't have the full email pulled up. I'm just getting a torture video pulled up here.
Ew.
I mean, it's not an actual torture video, the discussion of torture video.
I wonder if there's more context to this one too. Because Epstein says whoops, and then she says, no one will lie to you and get away with it from me. No one. Whoops is correct.
Yes. So he also says whoops in regard to RFK's wife being found hanging in the backyard. So it seems like whoops is a phrase that he just tends to use in strange context.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's any context from before that too, which I didn't find previously. Maybe this one. And this is the thing. There's so many. Like, look at this. I typed in, I give you permission to kill him. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different references to the same email.
Yeah, because it's just like different places in the email chain.
Yep.
So you go to the last one, and that should have all instances of them.
It doesn't always work like that, but yeah. So we don't know the content. It is interesting too, like the one that we have on the screen here, they redact Olga, but then on this one,
it's unredacted and then redacted. Yeah,
unredacted. I wonder if there's Olga Jeffrey Epstein. Olga appears in recently released Jeffrey Epstein documents as a staff member referenced in a 2014 email exchange. Olga is identified as Olga Goloshuko, an assistant who handled logistics for Epstein's properties and appeared in the flight logs.
And just so everyone is aware, they fixed the bug where you could copy the text of the redacted section and then paste it. You can't do it in these ones.
There were some instances where they completely forgot to redact the name altogether.
Yeah,
they redacted it 200 times, and then the last one, it's we're just not going to redact this one, so everybody knows who it is.
Like the conversation between the Mexican investigator and the NYPD detective on the child trafficking task force when they're discussing Marcinko and the former U.S. ambassador for Mexico. That one is pretty damning because that directly does talk about sex trafficking, talks about videos that include Jeffrey Epstein and other people. Marcinko was allegedly trafficking this 11-year-old girl all over the place. I would say that is probably the most direct discussion of this. But again, it's not Jeffrey Epstein doing it, but that's what Jeffrey Epstein did. So it's not hard for me to draw the connective tissue.
Apparently there's a muffin recipe. Why'd you send this over?
It's because if you scroll down, look at the embedded tweet. I will be, and I talked about this in my show today because I didn't see the rest of it, but this woman, it's Susan Hamblin, the one who owns that orphanage. She says, I will be sending 2 fresh muffins down with Karina. You currently have 2 steaks left on the island. Would you like new ones? Is she really talking about food or is she talking about something else? There are also references to pizza in numerous emails on here. Now, allegedly, this is in response to this email recipe. And you can see here, Jeffrey E. was Jeffrey Epstein. That's his initials. Yeah. And this is the muffin recipe. Now, it's possible that these are 2 separate, unrelated things, or perhaps they are directly related. But using code words for different types of necessary nouns for child trafficking and abuse of children, and that is documented. But just muffin and steak is not anything that I had heard specifically, but I thought it was suspicious, and I wanted to include it. It does seem like
a real muffin recipe, though. Yeah, we went over those code words on an episode once.
Yes, we did. Yeah.
Okay. Mike Benz shared this. This is pretty notable, too. A couple interesting notes on the reveal that Obama's White House counsel, top lawyer to the president, Kathy Rumler, emailed Jeffrey Epstein. She was awarded the CIA agency medal just hours after getting the award. That's kind of fascinating, considering she was working at the White House at the time.
Yeah, and she's never publicly been acknowledged as a CIA agent. She was personal counsel for Barack Obama in the White House. This is in Barack Obama's, 3rd year in office. She is all over the emails with Jeffrey Epstein. They appear to be fast friends. But here's the thing. You don't receive the CIA agency medal. She says the highest CIA reward. I looked it up. The highest CIA reward is the Distinguished Intelligence Cross. This is not something that they give to people who are not in the CIA. So for Kathy Rumler to get any type of award from the CIA means that she is CIA. And obviously Jeffrey Epstein knows that. Now, normally, if you were a recipient of this, there's only a handful of people who have ever been publicly acknowledged to have received this award or another award that it may be. There's like a slightly lesser award, but I mean, this Intelligence Cross is the highest award in the CIA. Now, you don't hear about the people who get this because you don't have the security classification to even know about it. But the fact that she's telling Jeffrey Epstein just hours after she's received it seems to indicate that Jeffrey Epstein must know that she's CIA, which either means that Jeffrey Epstein has a working relationship with her, CIA, or he has a security clearance, perhaps.
Also, I guess she wasn't working for Rumler at the time. She had already left government. Wasn't working for Obama at the time.
No.
Returned to private practice at Latham Watkins 8 months earlier. As it turns out, non-CIA civilians can receive the CIA agency medal privately with no public release if they have played a meaningful role in enabling CIA operations, providing critical access, or helping clear high-stakes legal or operational obstacles the CIA faced.
Okay.
That is interesting.
Either way, it sounds like she was directly involved in the CIA.
Yeah, wow. Okay, anyway, we have this one about Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel is mentioned quite a bit.
Yeah.
Throughout the files.
Not always like in a glowing fashion.
No.
He thought there was two.
This is Peter Thiel, Epstein talking to Ehud Barak, outgoing Israeli prime minister, and I think he was the defense guy for a while.
Well, he was the prime minister of Israel, and then, I believe he was the defense minister. Larry Summers was also on this call for about an hour. This is taken from like a 3-hour call.
Yeah.
Two cyber companies. Look out, and even though I know Peter, I've never met Peter Thiel, and everybody says he sort of jumps around and acts sort of strange, like he's on drugs.
Smoking, yeah. He looks under drugs.
However, he has a company called Palantir. Pallen Tier. Palantir is Peter Thiel's company, and look out.
Palantir, Palantir.
Yes.
They both spelled it two different ways.
Yeah,
both
and
incorrect.
wrong.
How you write Thiel? Thielley.
Thiel.
Yeah. LLY.
No. Thiell.
Okay.
So he thought that Peter would put you on the board of Palantir. Peter Thiel is one of the best. I've never met him. He's going to come here next week. So I wanted to talk to him after I talked to you.
Okay.
He and Andreessen, it's called Andreessen Horowitz. Andreessen Horowitz, that's what they pay Larry $1 million a year. Just to advise them.
Andreas and?
Andreessen, Andreessen, and Horowitz.
And Howard?
Horo, Horowitz. Horowitz.
Ah, Horowitz.
Yes.
What they are? It's a lobbyist. What they are doing?
They are the biggest venture capital people in Silicon Valley.
What, bigger than Sequoia or Kleiner
These are the new Kleiner Perkins. Everybody, these are the smart boys.
Yeah.
So those two companies right away, in terms of, I said that we need now in the next 3 weeks if you're going to leave.
Who recorded the call?
I believe it was Jeffrey Epstein. So essentially, Epstein is coaching Ehud Barak on the direction to take his career after he leaves the Israeli government, and how to use his connections. Basically, he told him to make a list of every single person in government that ever owed him a favor, so that when he leaves public service, so to speak, he can immediately call on those people from the private sector to use that relationship and make money. Now, in that same call, they also talk about Tony Blair, how Tony Blair is bringing in $10 million+ a year, advising nations like Kazakhstan on security or imports and stuff like that. And they also talk about how all of that money is not going to Tony Blair. Tony Blair is paying off somebody because he's not living like he's making $10 million a year. That money is obviously being used for something else.
Yeah, that's interesting. The amount of money these people, it's just another world.
Absolutely.
We have this one where they talk about Bill Barr, and Jeffrey Epstein says, he's talking with Bannon here. Bannon forwards him an email about Alex Acosta. It's an article having to do with Epstein and how he bought his way out of a lawsuit. Epstein responds, "Do you know Bill Barr, CIA?" And I feel like that is like common knowledge. Bill Barr was like an intern at the CIA for a while back in the day.
Yeah, Bill Barr started his career at the CIA. He was a counsel at the CIA. Now, what's notable about it is that if you'll notice the date of when this article gets forwarded to Jeffrey Epstein, it's about Alex Acosta. This is a point where Alex Acosta was getting a lot of attention because people figured out that he was in the Trump administration and he was the U.S. attorney who essentially let Epstein off. This article's right date predates the public reporting of Alex Acosta admitting that he was told that Epstein belonged to intelligence. That was like 7 months after this article was written. And Jeffrey Epstein says, "Do you know Bill Barr, CIA?" Okay, so I think the insinuation is that it was Bill Barr who told Alex Acosta that, Jeffrey Epstein belongs to intelligence. And obviously, Bill Barr is not at the CIA at this point. He left the CIA publicly many years ago. But I think that, what most people assume is that once CIA, always CIA. And obviously, Jeffrey Epstein's relationship went much deeper with a whole host of intelligence agencies. But primarily living in the United States, the CIA would be a big part of that.
Didn't Bill Barr not get, he didn't even get assigned until the next day. Bill Barr was assigned, or Bill Barr was nominated on December 7th of 2018.
Okay. Well, that's even more notable.
So maybe that's the timing of this, is he's like, do you know Bill Barr? Like CIA? And maybe it has nothing to do with the Alex Acosta thing. It's more so because the next day he got announced as Trump's AG pick.
I mean, that could definitely be it as well. I mean, I think that there was another email that I saw where Jeffrey Epstein seemed to have some foreknowledge about something in the administration, like trying to behind the scenes push for certain people to get nominated.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that was happening. These power players, they do that with everything.
Yeah.
This is one that's gone super viral. And I actually did a video on this earlier today because it's a great post and find by this Heather person. But ultimately the conclusion that, like, if she would have just dug a little further, she would have found that the dude made up the 4chan post. But there's this viral 4chan post from back right after when Epstein died. It says, not saying anything after this, please do not try to dox me. But last night after 0415 count, they took him, Epstein, medical in a wheelchair, front cuffed, but not one triage nurse says they spoke to him. Next thing we know, a trip van shows up. We do not do releases on the weekends unless a judge orders it. Next thing we know, he's put in a single man cell and hangs himself. Here's the thing. The trip van did not sign in, and we did not record the plate number. And a guy in a green dress military outfit was in the back of the van, according to the tower guy who let him through the gate. You guys, I'm shaking right now, but I think they switched him out. And so this is like feeding into the conspiracies that he either was murdered, didn't actually kill himself, or that he's in WITSEC, right? She found that this guy, this post, was investigated by a grand jury. They tried to figure out who had posted it. And through that investigation, they figured out it's this Robert Grijalva guy. He is a legitimate MCC employee. So he was actually working at the prison at the time that Epstein, around the time that Epstein was in custody. But when I dug further into this guy's name, I ended up finding that he actually, let me get to the emails and show you guys this. So if you look up Grijalva, there are just a few instances of him popping up, and I don't know which one it is in here. I need to find, it might be this one. No, that's not it. No, I have this open in another tab. Let me just pull that up. Hold for processing while I do this. Gosh, I have way too many tabs open on my computer right now. Nope, none of those are it. Okay, here we go. I think it's going to be one of these. No. Damn it. No, here, I have it in a Twitter post. Let me just do it this way. Sorry, guys. I thought I had this pulled up before, but I didn't. Right here. So the OIG investigated all aspects of the Epstein death. They interviewed all the prison employees. And this is a redacted one, interview of somebody we're not supposed to know. But if you search the name Grijalva, they forgot to redact his name in here like 3 times. So we know it's that guy. But the interesting part of it is this guy wasn't even working the day that Epstein was killed, and he didn't work weekends. He, on August 10th, which would be a Saturday, I was off the weekend, and Friday I worked from 6 a.m. to 2. Like you find out later, it's 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. In the special housing unit. And so this guy wasn't even there at the time that this, like, it debunks the claim that he made on 4chan, essentially. So we confirmed the guy was really there in the prison, working there as a real, prison guard, but he lied about the post. I think it's significant, notable,
Definitely.
So there's that. We have Elon Musk. This is how I knew so long ago that Reid Hoffman went to Epstein's island. Epstein used Reid being there to try to get me to go, not realizing that it would have the opposite effect. There's a lot of emails between Elon and Epstein, like coordinating meeting up. I think they got together a few times, like stateside, but
Yeah,
I don't know if he ever went to the island.
And well, he claims he didn't go to the island, and everything that I saw in the emails seemed to like dance around the possibility, but it doesn't seem, based on those communications, like it ever happened.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah. And you know, the one thing that I will say for Elon is that, you know, I mean, he basically came out and was like, you know, I knew that these emails were in there. I've been advocating for the release of everything since the beginning. I knew that it was going to be used against me, and I know what I did and what I didn't do. And so I'm only interested in making sure that kids are safe. Yeah. And I don't see anybody else talking about this like that. You know, I mean, everybody like Reid Hoffman, you know, just completely deflect and say, oh, look at Elon, But we know that he went to the island.
TNTD says, okay, John, they forgot to redact his name and they changed that he wasn't working. Come on, John, how easy is that to do? You can go through and find they have like shift stuff. Like he wasn't there. His sworn testimony is he wasn't working. And other people's sworn testimony say that he wasn't working. So why cover that up? Like, why lie about that?
Well,
documentation.
You might as well, in context with that, pull up the side-by-side comparison that I included of the corpse and then Jeffrey Epstein's live face, because I still think that it's highly likely that Jeffrey Epstein was switched out, because even if he was strangled, the corpse and the live body don't match up in my mind.
You sent so many links. I need to find which one it was. Do you have it readily available?
I can probably find it pretty quickly. Hang on just one moment.
I'm just going through, seeing if I can find it. Man, there's so much shit. 3 million.
Yeah, pages. I mean, it's incredible how much information they put out here. You know, what I will also say is that I thought that it was fascinating and pretty illuminating that Todd Blanche gave that press conference on Friday and made specific mention of the fact that any pictures of gore, death, torture, or, you know, abuse would not be included in the release. They've never suggested that there was even a remote possibility that there might be gore or torture videos included in the Jeffrey Epstein files.
Yeah.
So, okay.
But now that's what Elon's asking for. He's like, okay, well, now we need the videos though.
Yeah. So, I mean, there have been videos, but, you know, I mean, it's basic. It's kind of innocuous, creepy, but okay. So this is live Jeffrey Epstein's ear. This is dead Jeffrey Epstein's ear. There is live Jeffrey Epstein's nose. There is dead Jeffrey Epstein's nose. I mean, clearly he's standing up in this picture, so his eyebrows are not going to line up exactly the same way. You're missing.
Where'd this picture come from?
So the picture on the left is just a public picture of Jeffrey Epstein. The picture on the right was Jeffrey Epstein as he's being wheeled out of the Department of Corrections facility.
Where'd that picture come from?
That was taken, I believe, by a New York Post reporter as the body was being removed. I mean, it wasn't an official release. It was like somebody got the picture as he was coming out. And this is like contemporaneous to the death occurring, because I had this picture when it happened. And this picture has, you know, been around for a long time. But let me just zoom in here. I mean, you've got two totally different structures inside the ear, and the noses are completely different. You know, I don't know if these are the same widths in terms of pixels, but there appears to be, you know, different lengths to key features of the face. Also, you're missing a pretty pronounced frown or smile line that would be right here. And the hairline is just slightly different right here. It's more pronounced coming in on the dead body, just above, right at the temple.
Here,
Like
let me show you a
here.
better picture.
Okay, please do. Yeah, the only problem is that it's not at the exact same position as the one that we had earlier. But even still, you know, I mean, just looking at that dead body, I'm not convinced that it's Jeffrey Epstein. And they didn't go through and include, oh God. Yeah. I mean, that's definitely a dead body.
Is it
That's
possible
right
your confirmation bias is what's...
No, because I don't think that the ears lie. I mean, we've talked about this in so many different cases. You know, even the people who claim that, you know, Joe Biden's ears are different, I think that the features that matter are, you know, like the earlobes. Okay. When people get plastic surgery, frequently their earlobes are like, you know, cut off and then tucked in and tied to their face.
Yeah, I'm just trying to do, hold on. God, I hate, sometimes I love AI, sometimes I hate AI.
So, you know, back in 2019, I had both of these pictures. I uploaded them to Photoshop. I put the faces over each other, you know, changed the opacity back and forth. It just, they didn't match from what I could see.
Yeah, sorry, but I'm not going to be able to call that like proof. We can be skeptical of it, though. I get it. I get it. That conspiracy's out there. It's possible. Yep. You never know. I don't want to dwell on this too long, though. Let's go to the next one.
Yeah, there's plenty of other ones to look at, too.
Okay, so breaking. David Schwartz has dropped an Epstein file. The entire Epstein Island community was terrified of XRP and XLM. Says, I hate to be a conspiracy theorist, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if this is just the tip of the giant iceberg. A lot of people are trying to use it as like an anti-Bitcoin thing.
Which is why I included this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there is a point at which it appears Jeffrey Epstein pumped money into the Bitcoin Foundation. And, it doesn't mean to me that he controlled Bitcoin or that he wrote the code for Bitcoin or, you know, that he's got a backdoor to Bitcoin. I don't think that we can say that. But even if only the intention was to create one asset or to prop up one digital asset for the purpose of making as much money as possible, they would want to work about discrediting something that they would see as a potential competitor. What I do find particularly notable is that there is a direct and seemingly cozy relationship between Jeffrey Epstein and Gary Gensler. Gary Gensler is mentioned multiple times in these emails. And Gary Gensler was the guy at the SEC who went after Stellar and XRP.
Yeah. Is Austin Hill he's a Bitcoin guy. Founded Zero Knowledge Systems in 97. At Blockstream, he worked with Bitcoin pioneer Adam Back to develop sidechains and digitize global assets. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. You're not going to find like pro Bitcoin people who are like super pro XR. Like those two communities are so at each other's throats. So like,
no, completely.
If these people were invested in Bitcoin, it's obvious that they're not going to like.
I mean, Bitcoin was the first. Bitcoin has been the most successful, and my ultimate point here is that people are using it to suggest that Bitcoin equals Jeffrey Epstein, and you know, Bitcoin is like, you know, the big bad. And XRP is, you know, the good alternative, but I don't think it's that cut and dry.
Yeah, we got this one next, having to do with the Rothschilds. I don't know if you want to talk about this one at all. I'm going to look it up real quick.
Yeah, simply it's just the proof. This is another example of Jeffrey Epstein working with the Rothschild family. Obviously, he had a close relationship with Ariane de Rothschild. If you scroll down, you can see the entire letter that initial clip is taken from. And basically, Ariane de Rothschild was handling the business for the Rothschild family. Jeffrey Epstein was handling the business for STC, Southern Trust Company, which is based out of the Virgin Islands. I'm pretty sure that is a company that Jeffrey Epstein owned at that time. And Jeffrey Epstein was representing the Rothschilds in some business with the U.S. government, which is, another clue to the fact that Jeffrey Epstein had these deep connections to the U.S. government. The fact that, what's the date on this again? Scroll up.
The date on this is October 5th of 2015.
Okay, so well after he became a sex offender, and he should have been persona non grata, even if he had previously been doing business as some emissary of the United States government. So for him to represent the Rothschilds for a $25 million sum, on behalf of them working for the U.S. government, I mean, it's and here's the thing: he is being paid to broker some deal between the Rothschilds and the U.S. government. Ariane de Rothschild is representing Rothschild Holding SA, which is the Rothschild Group. Jeffrey Epstein represents Southern Trust Incorporated out of the Virgin Islands. The U.S. government is somehow involved in this. We don't know what this deal is, but I just think that the scale of it and the fact that Jeffrey Epstein is still free to do business with the United States government at such a level is highly notable.
Yeah, there's a ton of transactions being thrown around between this Sun Trust
Southern
Group or Southern, whatever, Southern Trust.
So, this is it. So Southern Trust is the company that all of Epstein's clients would pay into.
Gotcha.
Because you got Leon and Deborah Black right there. You got all of those Black family, they were paying out millions and millions and millions of dollars. And when Leon Black was asked, what Jeffrey Epstein did for him, he basically couldn't even tell.
You know what? I wonder if we can find what specifically he was actually doing, though.
Well, I mean, publicly, he was managing money, but nobody knows what Jeffrey Epstein was truly doing, or what funds he was running. I don't think that there was anything, any financial instruments that you could point to that were directly connected to Jeffrey Epstein, and you could say this was a moneymaker. His money was just sort of hand waved as some, mystery financial transaction. Somebody in the chat had asked, Rave Daddy says, have you heard the theory that the Epstein body double is Hillary Clinton's brother? I have. I don't believe it at all. So I don't think there's any truth to it.
Sorry, I'm just going to quick dig through this because there's only a few instances where they mention Rothschild Group.
There's another email where Jeffrey Epstein mentions that he works for the Rothschilds. Let me see if I can find that one in particular.
Maybe this is it. How many Rothschild groups are there?
Well, every single Rothschild family member is going. Well, they've got Rothschild groups that are in different parts of the world, like different countries, different regions, and then there are also subgroups within those. And I would imagine that every single individual Rothschild probably has a corporation or a trust or some other corporate instrument that they use.
Yeah.
So
the good name of Rothschild has already been badly damaged by the open disagreement between the two French Rothschilds group. We would like you to take every possible step to see that further damage is not inflicted on our family's good name, and hence our writing to ask you to withdraw or amend the resolution so as to allow for a prefix before the name Rothschild. And then, that is interesting.
I also did not know that Jeffrey Epstein came from this old world banking family that was the contemporary of the Rothschilds in the early 20th century. And I guess further back than that.
Okay, well, I'll look into that later, I guess. It seems like it might be a bigger dig than I anticipated. We have this, breaking Bill Gates is planning pandemic simulations with Jeffrey Epstein in 2017.
Yeah, so this is Jeffrey Epstein sending Bill Gates. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Scroll up. So,
yeah, he didn't send any of these.
Yeah. So, yeah, okay, it's to Bill Gates, CCing Larry Cohen. This is also being sent to Jeffrey Epstein. So, perhaps this is someone, well, clearly they talk about, planning pandemic stuff, and this is in 2017. So a couple of years before Event 201.
Yeah, but Epstein didn't send that stuff.
No, he's just included on the email, which, again, is sort of a disingenuous way of presenting it.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's a lot of that too. Like a lot of Epstein was CC'd on an email, and then people are like, yeah, Epstein was saying these certain things, and it's just, he was CC'd on an email or he was sent an email. Here he just says, okay.
He was a man of few words, oftentimes.
Yeah. We have this. CNN was painfully forced to admit President Trump was telling the truth and cut ties with Jeffrey Epstein after Trump learned of Epstein's sexual misconduct. We can listen to this quick.
This is great.
The Journal reports that a spa worker from Mar-a-Lago often made house calls to Jeffrey Epstein's home 2 miles away. But those house calls, quote, came to a halt in 2003 after an 18-year-old beautician returned to the club from a house call to Epstein and reported to managers that he had pressured her for sex. The HR manager faxed Trump a letter suggesting that the club ban Epstein, and Trump agreed, which does mirror the president's own public comments about why he cut ties with Epstein. The White House is responding to the Wall Street Journal, writing, no matter how many times this story is told and retold, the truth remains President Trump did nothing wrong, and he kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago for being a creep.
He cut ties with Jeffrey Epstein long before Epstein became a convicted sex offender. A lot of Democrats didn't, and it is corroborated by the Wall Street Journal tonight.
Epstein.
There we go.
Highly notable.
Highly notable. There's a lot of hype going around about Mondami being Epstein's son.
Yeah. Mostly I put this in here because all of these images are AI, and Alex Jones actually put out a video earlier talking about how they found all these pictures with Mondami and his mom and Jeffrey Epstein, and he was saying that they were real, but they're all not. None of these pictures are real.
On Friday, the Justice Department released over 3 million files, 180,000 photos, over 2,000 videos. And in the emails, it talks about Ms. Mondami at these Epstein events. So people searched it. They found real photos. Ross confirmed they found real photos.
Bitch!
They found real photos. They found real photos. They found real photos.
Right, this is World War VI. This right here might make a bitch cry. And this right here gon' make a bitch cry. And if we being honest, I am such a great guy. But this is what I do when a bitch breaks off.
They found real photos. They found real photos. They found real photos.
I'ma put her in the dungeon under. No, the bitches ain't eating it, dying of hunger.
They found real photos.
I mean, who the fuck is this boy?
They found real photos.
Okay. This is why, though, like the 72-hour rule is fairly important when it comes to this stuff, so you don't get put in a situation like that.
Yeah.
Right there. Which, by the way, I'm like, why is Alex Jones still on the air? I was told by him credibly that he was being taken off the air about 100 times ago.
Well, they took his LLC.
Is that true, though?
I think that was the insinuation. Because it was the company that was being sued. He had personal liability, but of course the company owned everything. They just fold the LLC, they fold it into another one, and then they can continue.
Yeah. Well, also,
but I understand what you're saying.
I'm making fun of him for saying like he's done like 12 streams where this is my last stream ever, guys. They're coming in the morning to take all my stuff.
Yeah.
And it never happens. We have this. This is proof, guys. Proof that Epstein is Satoshi Nakamoto.
Trying to tell you that Jeffrey Epstein was essentially
And you know it's real because this guy won't show his face and stand behind what he's saying by revealing his identity. This is proof.
Satoshi and you didn't believe me, but now the files are out and the connections are documented. Epstein was linked to the early Bitcoin ecosystem, funding channels, core developers, and political figures who now shape crypto regulation. Between 2002 and 2017, Epstein sent $750,000 to $850,000 to MIT. Part of that money supported the MIT Digital Currency Initiative, the group that paid the Bitcoin core developers when the Bitcoin Foundation ran out of money. The Digital Currency Initiative paid developers like Gavin Anderson, Vladimir van der Laan, and Corey Fields. Epstein even visited MIT 9 times, met with staff privately, essentially shaped the ecosystem of Bitcoin with these people. His name was hidden, so much so that they called him Voldemort. Emails also show a meeting at his Manhattan mansion with Brock Pierce and Larry Summers discussing Bitcoin years before it was mainstream. He was the mastermind behind Bitcoin.
So retarded.
In 2018, Epstein emailed Steve Bannon about crypto taxes and campaign finance. And in 2014, he emailed Peter Thiel about Bitcoin's legal classification. None of this was public until now. I tried to tell you that Jeffrey Epstein was essentially Satoshi. I hope that now you've seen.
Essentially Satoshi.
Yeah.
I mean, the unfortunate thing about cryptocurrencies, no matter how good and solid it is, anybody can get into it, right? Yeah. And Satoshi wrote his white paper in what, 2008?
Yeah, long time ago.
Yeah. And obviously, like, these guys are unfortunately wealthy people, not trying to comment on how they got their wealth, but they had money, and it makes sense that they would get into this kind of shit. Just such stupid takes. The whole XRP versus Bitcoin wars has devolved into like just retardation.
It's pretty nuts. But yeah, so obviously I included that because it's straight retardation. I mean, obviously there is nothing to suggest that Jeffrey Epstein was Satoshi Nakamoto. I mean, the only way that I could see somebody making that connection is he must be an XRP bro.
No, yeah.
No.
It has to be. Also, what baseball team is that on this head?
I don't think that is a baseball team. It's some type of bastardization of the New York Yankees.
Yeah, it's got it on there twice. Anyway, this one, you're going to have to sum this up. I'm not reading this. I didn't read it earlier. TLDR.
Okay, so so this has to do with some like corruption with police in Massachusetts, essentially running brothels. And they have connected to this guy, Staunton Police Deputy Chief Robert Devine. And they're suggesting that he was essentially trafficking children in Norfolk County, and District Attorney Michael Morrissey is connected. Robert Devine, there was a woman named Sandra Birchmore who was murdered by a police officer, and it was covered up. And eventually, this guy ended up getting in trouble. But I can tell you there is definitely a lot of corruption here. It is listed with a whole bunch of links and a whole bunch of sauce. But I haven't even had a chance to go through all of it. Like, I literally just saw it and I was like, okay, so the connections that are being made here are to people whom I already know to be corrupt. And the idea that Jeffrey Epstein had this mini child trafficking network that was set up specifically in Massachusetts was incredibly interesting.
Okay, we'll revisit that one. Seems like, if that's true, that seems like a pretty solid connection. There are some solid stuff in here.
Yes, definitely.
Some of it. This is another Mondami is Jeffrey Epstein's son.
Yeah.
We did that. We have this. There it is. Ehud Barak's former prime minister of Israel flying with Epstein's girls on the Lolita Express. Epstein insider shares about driving Ehud Barak accompanied by Secret Service who liked the cute girls with Epstein.
So let me preface this by saying this video is fake. Okay, but the DOJ published it like those fake pictures from the interior of Epstein's cell that they published in the first drop.
So it's AI.
I don't know that it's AI. I mean, it could very easily just be a couple of guys who got together and, produced this video. But that is 100% not Ehud Barak, and it is 100% a fake video. It's not Ehud Barak and somebody else talking about Jeffrey Epstein. It's just it's either people, creating a script and then filming it, or maybe being AI. I don't know. The quality is kind of low intentionally, but I've seen quite a few people sharing it and saying that, oh my God,
confirmation,
breaking news.
Yeah, and this is the shit that I'm talking about that's driving me nuts about this. Like,
yeah,
a lot of this going on. Should we even watch a video if it's fake?
I mean, it's only 50 seconds,
Okay.
Ehud Barak, former Prime Minister of Israel, he flew in a Gulfstream 3. The Secret Service was there, a couple of nights. And I gotta tell you this, it was one of Epstein's girlfriend. He said, take to Miami and you kept the Mercedes for the weekend. Very good, Mr. Epstein, thank you. So he took off. He takes off, and the Secret Service said, Alfredo, they were all attracted by the girl. So I said, I opened the road for you. So we came 95 miles an hour from Palm Beach to Miami. That type of things, that was normal. I mean, if at that time I would say to somebody, I'm doing this, I say, yeah, sure, you're a liar. Right. It was, fantastic things. Only because the girls. So Ehud Barak, very important guy. Here's another one. Ehud Barak,
so now there's another layer to this, because when you actually watch the video, it's obvious that whoever this guy is, he is actually talking about the relationship between Ehud Barak and Jeffrey Epstein. Like, I don't know, maybe in reality, like this guy supposedly worked for Jeffrey Epstein or supposedly worked for Ehud Barak. But, either way, it's been removed from the DOJ's website. So there is something not right about it.
Interesting. Here's another one. When asked in an email about Congress putting an end to income tax loopholes, Epstein responded, they did a great job of closing most, at least for the Goyim.
That's anybody who's not a Jew. Now, I included this along with another couple of nuggets just like this, because there's a lot of this going on in the Epstein files. If you search Goyim, and there's another disambiguation Jews of it. Yeah. Just they're speaking not favorably about people who are not Jewish. And I thought it was pretty interesting the way they talk when they think nobody's listening.
Yeah, here's I thought this was interesting. Breaking with 2 fire emojis. So not only is it fire, it is double fire. Jeffrey Epstein and Joshua Bach discussed genetically engineering black people to make them smarter. He says that black kids have slower cognitive development and never catch up. This is the whole, like, poor kids have slower cognitive development than white kids do, right? Isn't that what was the quote?
White kids are, what is it? No, was it poor kids are just as smart as white kids?
Yeah, something like that. And their brains are slower at learning high-level concepts. He says that it is genetic and not attributed to social factors. He's a German cognitive scientist. I'm pretty sure this might be the one when I looked it up. Well, let me see if I can find this in the files. Josh, some thoughts I meant to send for a long time. Because there's one of these things you sent where it's like these long rants and ramblings, and the post is like they were discussing this, and Epstein like responded, "What was with your like autistic email you sent me last night?" And it was something like this.
Your Asperger's email.
Yeah. Did you send me that one?
I didn't send it, no, but I saw that. I forgot to look for that one. I thought that was pretty funny.
I think that's this one. Let me see if I can find it really quick. Hold for processing. How do you spell Asperger's?
Aspergers. Asperger's. My Asperger's kicked in, and I believe I already have it.
Okay, no, this is somebody else. So this is a different email. We'll get to that one in a minute. But yeah, so they say they were discussing this. There's no context. So what we do know is Joshua sent the email, not Epstein. We don't know what sparked it or any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do this one.
However, eugenics is a concept that was pervasive throughout Epstein's life. Zorro Ranch was intended as a breeding ground, essentially, where Jeffrey Epstein was going to have women there who would have his babies, and he was planning on creating a master race. One of the emails that I did send you, I'm pretty certain, talks about the use of Zorro Ranch for the creation of designer babies.
Yeah, you know what? I just realized we got to get to our next two sponsors before we
Go ahead. Yeah.
Get too far. First up, we got Patriot Protect. And this is a pretty sweet concept here. Today it's scarily easy for criminals, scammers, or anyone with bad intentions to find your personal information online. Trust me, I can find anybody's information for the most part. Just kidding. But seriously, your home address, phone number, workplace, even your family members' names are exposed with just a few clicks. Side note, we actually, when we were doing some research into the ops that were going on against Badlands, we found out who was funding by owning the website and emails of some other streamers that you might know out there. Some Jewish folk who may own some competitors of ours, which is pretty notable. Anyway, when this much information is public, scams aren't random. Hundreds of people search sites and data brokers, compile profiles linking your name, address, phone number, relatives, and online behavior. Scammers use these profiles to decide who to target and how to approach them. That's how identity fraud starts, long before the damage shows up. Patriot Protect removes your personal data from the internet, wiping it from Google and every major website where bad actors search for targets. Patriot Protect finds and deletes your personal information from 240 plus people, search engines, and data brokers. Once your profiles are eliminated, their search and destroy protocol runs continuous monitoring, so every new exposure is detected and wiped immediately. It's the peace of mind of having your own security team, all for about the cost of keeping your porch lights on. If you want to take control of your personal information and reduce your exposure, go to patriot-protect.com, promo code Baseless. Hold on, let me make sure I do this right. patriotprotect.com/baseless. Use code Badlands for 15% off all Patriot Protect plans. Patriot-protect.com/baseless, promo code Badlands.
So what I'll tell you is when you go to the website, it's seamless to check out. You just drop the stuff into the checkout. You fill out a form after you complete your transaction, and you give them all of your personal information that they will essentially go out onto the web. They'll search for it, see where your information has been breached. If there are websites out there that have been involved in data hacks, maybe where passwords have been exposed. Basically anywhere that you're vulnerable. And they'll, so I filled it out. I did it for all of my personal emails and all of my business emails. And, obviously I'm using those emails for different things, but, they're all necessary to keep secure. And they will also end up going through and helping to erase pieces of you from the internet if you want to make sure that certain things don't get out. So if you are looking to keep your OPSEC on point, this is an excellent way to do it. So I was pretty happy that they came on as sponsors.
Yeah. And also just a reminder, don't try to destroy Badlands and we won't find out that the Jews on your websites.
That's
just saying. Maybe someday we'll talk about us finding that. We have this. Jeffrey Epstein reportedly ran Kremlin's largest honey trap and blackmail operation. I mean, this is a little bit of a stretch.
Well, when I sent this to you, I was like, this is the real conspiracy coming out of everything, because it is now everybody is basically admitting Jeffrey Epstein was running a child trafficking blackmail operation. I'm seeing it more and more from large mainstream media sources. It's undeniable. They cannot get rid of it. They can't back away from it. They can't ignore it anymore. And there are so many people who are connected to it. So now they're leaning into the idea that Jeffrey Epstein was actually a Russian agent. And that's it, guys. So you don't need to look at any other possible countries that he may have been involved in, any foreign passports that might have been found in his safe. Just that doesn't matter. What matters is that he had clients who were Russian oligarchs, and he got girls from Russia. All right. Yeah. So there we go. He's a Russian agent, and case closed.
Well, what I thought was funny as I got to this part, journalists calculated that newly released documents in the Epstein case contain 1,056 references to Russia and Vladimir Putin and 9,629 references to Moscow. Here's the thing, guys. Like, do you ever get spam in your email, Zach?
Absolutely.
Like, do you ever get news? Are you subscribed to any newsletters that send you stuff?
Yes.
There are a bunch of mentions of Russia, but if you click on most of the links and Putin and Moscow, they're all like majority of them. I haven't gone through all 9,000 references, but most of them, I would wager probably 99% of them are just that. They're like FBI alerts or news or whatever, which is not like any sort of wrongdoing or anything. It's not evidence of anything. It's not evidence of him running a blackmail operation for the Kremlin. But
so
these
let
are
me
the
tell
kinds
you
of
this.
stories you get out of it.
I regularly delete my email, and I'm in my email inbox. And first, when I searched Russia in my email inbox, it crashed my Gmail account. And it just closed because there's too many of them. All right. When I finally got it to come up with Russia, I am looking at easily thousands of references to Russia. And it looks like I've still got email in there going back to 2022. And that's only one email address.
Lonesome Fugitive says Jeffrey Epstein was asked to help install then Russian parliamentarian Ilya Ponomarev as president instead of Putin. An email in the DOJ's latest batch of published files suggests. I'd like to see that. That's interesting. That's true.
That is interesting because it shows that he was being asked to go against Vladimir Putin, which is obviously not what they're trying to say here. I mean, I've seen numerous articles that were based upon that original article, and it's like, Jeffrey Epstein's cozy relationship with Putin being studied by FBI and DOJ in latest email leak.
Ghost, I saw you in the chat earlier. I don't know if you're still there, but you're gonna love this one. So there's this CHS reporting document, confidential human source, and it's got a lot of stuff in here. It talks about Alan Dershowitz, and CHS learned that Dershowitz influenced many students from wealthy families. For example, Josh Kushner and Jared Kushner were both his students. Dershowitz told the CHS that if he were young again, he would be holding a stun gun as an Israeli intelligence Mossad agent. CHS believed Dershowitz was co-opted by Mossad and subscribed to their mission. They still continue to communicate. But when I get down here to the bottom, and if there's stuff in here that you want to go through, you can, but this is what I want to point out to Ghost. The CHS stated that Renda Tillerson, the phone number there, Renda is the wife of Rex Tillerson, former Secretary of State for Trump. Renda told the confidential human source about smears in the New York Post and how Jared was running a rival State Department operation. Rex affirmed Renda's claim. Renda was introduced to the CHS by Darren Blanton. Renda and Rex both told CHS they had been under intense surveillance. Renda told the CHS she can't wait for the FBI to call her so that she can tell them everything she knows. And there's been, some conspiracies out there that maybe Jared Kushner is kind of running low-key a separate State Department from the official one, but it's not a bad thing necessarily.
Right.
So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I thought this whole document was fascinating.
Yeah.
There was an email that I sent along with this, which included Jeffrey Epstein discussing the Sarah Ransom case and how he knew that Sarah Ransom had video of both Bill Clinton and Alan Dershowitz at orgies.
I think I have that one. Hold on. Hold on. You sent me so many, dude.
Well, there was just too much to pass up.
Yeah. I'm not finding the orgy one though. No. Do you have that one? Oh, here we go. Epstein in email said there are videos of Clinton and Dershowitz participating in orgies.
And this is to Kathy Rumler.
I mean, let's read it. What the email says is Boas sent over his settlement document for the Ransom. I don't know what that's
Ransom.
supposed to say.
That's it's supposed to say Ransom. That's the Sarah Ransom case.
Okay. I want to confirm with you that it is a good idea to settle since the publicity has gotten out of hand. So they're not necessarily admitting guilt. They're admitting that the publicity is bad here and we could settle this one. And if I was to fight one case, this should be it. 24 years old. She advertised on sugardaddy.com and was part of the Elliot Spitzer escort agency.
Do you know who Elliot Spitzer was?
I don't.
He was the attorney general and then the governor of New York. And he was taken down because he frequented an escort agency. And I guess Sarah Ransom worked there based upon what Jeffrey Epstein is saying.
Wow. And she said she has tapes of Clinton and Dershowitz having orgies.
Yeah.
So Epstein didn't claim to have seen them or have them. He's saying that this gal who they were considering settling with said she had those tapes.
Mm-hmm.
So isn't this Jackson Hinkle?
He's a communist. He's a former America First turned communist.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting thing. Okay, we have this Denmark United Nations Refugee Agency Director Joanna Rubinstein stepped down after showing up in the Epstein files. There are a few people who have resigned because it's not a great look.
Well, and Lord Peter Mandelson, he got caught giving classified government documents to Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, that's not smart.
No, not smart at all. That, like, in the UK, you can go to prison for the rest of your life for doing that. And he didn't do it once. He did it at least twice that they've discovered so far.
Yeah, well, you can basically go to prison for the rest of your life in the EU for sharing a meme. So
yeah. But I mean, he's a lord. Like, he's
not my lord.
He's not my lord either, but I'm saying, like, in the social strata of the UK, he's up there. There's also an email where he claims to Jeffrey Epstein that he convinced former Prime Minister Gordon Brown to step down from his position, and he writes that to Jeffrey Epstein the next day Gordon Brown resigned.
Yeah, we have this on the screen here. It's Gino Yu. I just shared with you a message that I got from someone that I meant. Anyway, this guy talks about all sorts of like supernatural ability and creating people and traumatizing them, and also human clones and designer babies. Epstein didn't talk about that. This Gino Yu guy did.
Yes.
Epstein responded saying, "What prompted your Asperger email?"
Yes.
And then he goes on with a bunch more Asperger stuff. So it wasn't necessarily Epstein talking about it. It was in the emails, though. Somebody else was talking about it to him. Still interesting stuff these people talk about for sure.
Mm-hmm. I mean, my email doesn't look like this. I'll say that. I mean, if I'm talking about those subjects, I'm talking about other people's participation in them.
Yeah. Here's the tunnels one.
Mm-hmm.
They're talking about damage at the island, I think, from one of the hurricanes or something. Jeffrey, of the billing to date, 5,000 is for the ATV garage. I would not hold a payment of 105,500 searching whether Gensler had direction from the team that added tunnels and office below the main house. That's passed. I recommend we go forward. Payment and the contract will help overcome the apprehension I sense on Gensler being comfortable with proceeding or communicate with me, as well as aiding in my negotiating the fees for the major changes to structure when we do meet. And there's multiple times the tunnels are mentioned, and then staff sleeping in the tunnels. Have any pictures come out of these tunnels yet?
No. And there is like a door on the side of the island, which was speculated to have been an entrance to the tunnels. But they were, if I'm not mistaken, there was a Q post that yes. Q said that when Jeffrey Epstein was brought up, he began the work of filling those tunnels with concrete. Now, there was no pictures that were released. There was a security camera still that was suggested to perhaps be from the tunnels, but it's so grainy and you can't really tell exactly where it's taken from. But my point here was the last time we talked about the tunnels, we were looking for some sort of confirmation and admission that there were tunnels. And this is, pretty close to that being done. I mean, they're talking about the island. They're talking about staff sleeping in tunnels. They're talking about tunnels having been built beneath the main residence. I mean, I don't know how much more you're going to get. I mean, if you want to see an invoice or something, I mean, we've got $105,000 right there.
Yeah. So yeah, that's interesting for sure. I would like to see pictures of those tunnels, though.
I would love to. Well, I mean, at this point, allegedly, they are filled with concrete. They've already been filled in. And obviously somebody else owns the island now, and they're not doing tours.
Who said it was filled with concrete?
Well, I mean, that was what was in the Q post, was that the Epstein started filling in the tunnels. Hold on. Let me see if I can find that post.
We have this breaking news. Liberal ex-count Brian Krassenstein credibly accused of raping 2 minor brothers.
Yeah, so this is nothing to do with Epstein, but this is, I believe we've talked about this before, but I didn't have the 4chan post. And I just came across this when I was looking through other stuff. And so this is one of those conspiracy theories, but it's a credible claim that has been out there for some time. And Brian Krasenstein also owned these websites that were devoted to sort of younger boy porn and stuff.
Here's the thing about credible claims, though. Like, I'm in the middle of being sued, right? People know that haven't talked about it. It's based on a total lie. Just because somebody makes a claim on the internet does not make it true. You know what I mean?
Of course not. No.
And I already disproved a 4chan post earlier, even though it was somebody who worked at the prison. The guy wasn't working at the time. I mean, who's to say this is legit? Anybody can post on 4chan. So
correct.
I don't need to spend too much time on that.
Okay.
Epstein discussed Hitler with Steve Bannon too.
Yeah, Epstein talks about Hitler and that story about him living in the Rothschild house in a couple of different emails. I just thought that was interesting.
It is.
And he says, not only billionaire pedophile friend of Trump, but helped Hitler, just what I need.
Hitler, that's the men's dorm he lived in during those 3 dark years as failed artist.
Yeah, so it starts out, by late fall, he had sold most of his clothes, including his black winter overcoat, and so the snow and cold drove him to further humiliation. Huddled in a light jacket one afternoon just before Christmas, he trudged all the way to Meidling in the outskirts of town. It took 2.5 to reach his destination, the AC Fur, the shelter for the destitute. And by the time he arrived, he was exhausted, his feet sore, run by a philanthropic society whose principal support was the Epstein family. And then that's the men's dorm he lived in during those 3 dark years as a failed artist. And then not only billionaire pedophile friend of Trump, but helped Hitler just what I need. He's talking about himself.
He's being facetious.
He's being facetious. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me show you the posts. All right. So let's see. So post 999 right here. Why is Epstein spending $29 million to bury the tunnels underneath his temple on Epstein Island? But there's an H missing. Problem, phones were allowed in. These people are stupid. The insinuation is that pictures or video was taken. And then that is reposted, and the missing H is included. I think probably just to let everybody know that that was a mistake. It wasn't, intentional. And then another post right here. Where do roads lead? Each prince is associated with the cardinal direction: north, south, east, west. Sacrifice, collect, classified 1, classified 2, tunnels, table 29, D, room H, D, room R, D, room C, pure evil, conspiracy. Perhaps this is discussing the directions the tunnels take underneath and the actions that are taken in them. And then finally, welcome to Epstein Island. Ask yourself, is this normal? What does a temple typically symbolize? What does an owl symbolize? Dark religion. Tunnels underneath. How many channels captured on RC's pic? Rooms indicate size. Hallways shown. Classified 1 through 99. Symbolism will be their downfall. These people are evil. I don't think that this video is online anymore. Oh my God, it still is. Yes, this is, hang on, let me, so this is video of the island of the house on the island.
We went over this when we did the conspiracy.
Yeah, I just want to look at the length of the video. So yeah, 1 minute, 42 seconds. I'll turn the sound off.
Kind of liked it.
Okay. Well, I'll just turn it down. So you've got the temple right there, right there. This is the location that we looked at previously that I said could have been the tunnel entrance. Based upon its location, it goes directly into that hill. It's underneath the temple.
The email says the tunnels were underneath, the tunnels and office underneath the main house.
Well, they also mention the temple, and
not the emails you sent.
Well, hold on. Who's to say that a temple here, or excuse me, a tunnel here underneath this house couldn't lead through the island underneath and go directly to the temple?
I'm not saying it couldn't, but I'm saying that's not what the emails say. Like, I'm just going off based on what we're
and it could be
what we have available information. Could be
perhaps there's 2 different tunnel systems that are being discussed. You've got the tunnels in the post, then you've got these tunnels that are directly talked about in the email. I would say that we've got confirmation from Jeffrey Epstein's emails that there's tunnels there, regardless of where they're at. The post, is talking about tunnels on the island,
and it shows a video showing tunnels under the temple, which is not referenced in the emails. So,
okay.
And does that tunnel look like it could fit a vehicle in it? Because that's what the emails reference.
Well, it said there was the ATV location, but I don't think that it specifically talks about a vehicle driving through the tunnel. But I mean, based upon the size of that entrance right there, I mean, maybe a side-by-side could go in. They were driving side-by-sides on the island.
Yeah, because the email says, Bryce, can you sketch out on a plan where you want the vehicles in the sheds and tunnels along with storage? Farrell's boat, shop, etc. I think they're prepping for a storm. But anyway, let's keep going here. We have Epstein and Mark Fisher have a conversation on the difference between a Jewish and non-Jewish soul. And they say, Mark Fisher sent this to Jeffrey. And I love how they say like they're having a conversation when it's just one email they show to Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah. They don't show any back and forth. But regardless, this is what Mark said to Jeff. A Jewish soul has a very different structure, different ingredients, components, relates to its higher levels differently, has different higher levels, relates to itself and other people in a different manner than a non-Jewish soul.
I think it's just another indication that the people having this conversation look at themselves very, very differently.
Yep.
From the rest of the world.
We have this, like there's a lot of these in there where Jane Doe's and people make accusations against Epstein. Not saying they're not true, but again, just want to remind people, anybody can make an accusation, even in a lawsuit like this. It does not make it true. I know that because I'm currently being sued by somebody who's full of shit, and like anybody can put anything in a lawsuit. It doesn't make it accurate or true.
Yes, and this is a civil action. I don't know what the dispensation of that case is.
Yeah, I accidentally exited out of it, but do you have that one on your end?
Hang on just a second.
By the way, thank you, Ramble on 365, who gifted 5 subscriptions, because it was through that gift that I found out Red Pill 78 Wife was not already a subscriber.
There we go.
But now she is.
She used to be.
The last time she got gifted us. Just kidding, Lisa. We love you. And yes, I am a skeptic. That's my role on the show, assholes. I don't know how many times I have to say that every damn week.
I don't know where it is. I believe that particular court case discusses the transfer of children from Turkey to Jeffrey Epstein's island.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yes. And now, here is. I wanted to make sure that we show this one because I thought that this was pretty interesting. This appears to be an email that Mark Epstein received, and he sent it to a lawyer, maybe his lawyer, Stacy Richman. Let me add this. But the insinuation appears to be that there is somebody else in charge. So Mark Epstein gets this email from Puggy Killer at fastmail.com, which is just a place to, you can just make a free email. You don't know us, I'm sure. You have beautiful children. Bitch, fuck your children. Which one should I kill first? You know no one knows who we are. I want to kill them in such a way that no one can tell how they died. We have documents that show you had a partnership with your brother. I want to do something to see the death of your loved ones. We will kill one of your children in 72 hours. Stupid. And then he says, hey, bitch, don't you want to answer? If you don't answer, I'll suffocate you like your brother. You don't know our boss's name, I'm sure. If you know him, tell us. He wants to meet you. Just because you don't answer doesn't mean you don't know your brother's killer. It's true. You know that if I tell the police something, we will kill your children. If you don't answer, the boss will be very upset. You don't know my boss? It's true. Hey, Puggy, my boss is a very kind person. He loved your brother. Your brother's mistake was that he wanted to tell the court everything. The boss wants to meet you. He just wants to see if you know him or not. What's the boss's name? Hey, Puggy, you have 2 choices, or tell the court you partnered with your brother, or we will kill your family like your brother. and Mark Epstein sends it to his lawyer as a forward and says, sent via tin can and string. Now, because there is no attribution for this email is just a random free email, fastemail.com. We have no idea who sent it, right? I mean, there's no identifying information. Obviously, there's a lot of threats. There is some insinuation that these people have something to do with Jeffrey Epstein, that, you know, they're representing somebody that Jeffrey Epstein worked for. But I have to say that based upon who I believe Jeffrey Epstein was in business with, I highly doubt that there would be some random, you know, threatening emails sent to Mark Epstein that would have any level of seriousness to it.
Seems like just a random online person,
right?
Getting pissed off, sending stuff. Okay,
yeah,
interesting. Is there anything else notable?
I think we're probably good. We've got the rest of the year to go over everything that we're going to see.
Oh
in these
God,
emails.
if we have to go over these again, I can't do it.
We're not going to do another one next week. Don't worry, John.
So done with the Epstein files. Anyway, okay, well, cool. Let's see if we got any boosts. And you know what? I noticed that Badlands boosts weren't loading on my end, and I wonder if. Oh, no, they're loaded now. I wonder if I thought maybe my cookies or something were full and they wouldn't let me do it. But here we got 1027 JS for $20. Says thanks and thank you, Joe, fellow North Dakotan. We had Gateway Maga 5 became a Badlander, and just wanted to say about Badlands Story Hour Lost in London. It was a great episode, but becoming a Badlander, I like to read those because that's monthly support. We appreciate that always.
Appreciate it.
And then we got a couple rants that snuck in here. 3 of them. We have Keith O'Higgins saying, could cyber just be the Serbian server side of the triangle that Maduro is revealing? Epstein disclosure is the other side of the triangle, and the base is the ballots and paperweight to build on. I like that. And Gizmo's mom says, Zach, show him the emails you showed tonight with keywords pizza muffins. I think
I showed him the muffin and the steak one, but I was able to find that recipe in the meantime. The pizza ones, I don't have them in front of me, and I don't have them right now, but I don't think that there's anything additional that I'm going to show John that will sway him.
Yep. And then it's not well, hold on. It's not that I don't think they use the code words and stuff, because we went over that. That was compelling shit. And I do think they did.
Okay, well then let me pull up the pizza.
And then while you're doing that, we did have the last rant was, hold on, I just got to respond to this person in the chat. The last rant was, Rave Daddy, have you heard the theory that Epstein body doubles Hillary Clinton's brother? It could be BS. I don't know. See y'all at GART. Yes, get your GART tickets, everybody. badlandsmedia.tv/events.
Yeah, I don't think that it is. Yeah, I've heard that for years, and I've looked into it, but I didn't find anything that swayed me on it. Okay, so here are 4 different emails. Jeffrey Epstein sends just that emoji. Clearly, he's responding to a picture or something, and then says, she looks pregnant. And he says, you mean radiating a soft glow with a look of bliss and excitement? Yeah, that's the pizza. And regarding the pizza monster, so we don't know who it is. Certainly, it could mean something else, but obviously pizza amongst these people tends to point to...
wait, go back to that one.
Yes. He's talking about a pregnant woman. That's the pizza. So maybe she just ate a pizza or something, but maybe it's something else. Right here. So this was an interview of a reported Epstein victim, Walter Harkins. This is that same NYPD detective that was speaking with the guy in Mexico, dealing with the Marcinko case and the former ambassador to Mexico. This is a supervisory special agent at the FBI in New York that Walter Harkins is messaging. Harkins is the detective on the Bureau of Child Exploitation and Human Trafficking Task Force in New York. And he says, I'd like to add a few other points. So clearly there's more to this email that we don't have in this screenshot. I'd like to add a few other points disclosed by the purported victim. While on this yacht, he witnessed African-American males having sex with white blonde females, all of whom were bleeding during intercourse. He was a victim of a type of ritualistic sacrifice in which his feet were cut with a scimitar but left no scarring. On the yacht, he witnessed babies being dismembered, their intestines removed, and individuals eating the feces from these intestines. And he was also raped by George Bush I. Victim disclosed he was escorted to the FBI building by Michael Moore, who is the creator of True Pundit. You may have seen him around in the last couple of years, John. Described by multiple online sources as a conspiracy-driven news website that attempts to paint the FBI in a bad light. Moore has a criminal record as a result of an FBI investigation for copyright infringement. It's a total bullshit case. Let me know if you want to discuss the former FBI agent that called this into head office. So I'm assuming that it's Michael Moore, the former FBI agent, who called this lead in to the Human Trafficking Task Force. But for whatever reason, Walter Harkins felt the need to send this over to the supervisory special agent who I guess I would assume has got something to do with the Epstein investigation, even though he's not dead. And the FBI agent replies, "Thanks. I didn't realize Bush raped him too." Okay. And then he responds again and he said, "He has more to tell us too," he said. So, I mean, just the very fact that they're carrying on an ongoing conversation about this leads me to believe that at very least they have an interest in pulling that thread. I would imagine if they just thought this was a crazy person, because a couple of those things sound pretty wild, right? If they thought there wasn't anything to this, I don't think that he would have even, risen it to the level of alerting the FBI. So anyways, that's just one aspect of it. And then here's another one just to remind you. This was from the Stratfor release, which came out before the Podesta emails. And in the Stratfor email, Burton at Stratfor messages the office and he says, "Who all is in the Austin office today? Who is going to want pizza? We only have one slice and we need to know how thinly to slice it. And does the pizza offer include those of us who can't make the meeting? Are you sure this might not be a Jim Jones Kool-Aid event? Please eat my slice." It's strange because who in the hell is going to slice up a single slice of pizza, right? I mean, you're not going to do that for the entire office. But in context with the pizza code that was released by the FBI and the subsequent emails that came out in the Podesta releases, I think that, it's suspect. And then we've got that Jeffrey Epstein sent, from Jeffrey Epstein. "Where are you? Are you okay? I loved the torture video."
And there's no context.
No, there's no context. There is another email where he and Ghislaine Maxwell are talking, and there is a video that is shared, and she's like, "I don't want to see that. I don't want to see any aggro, whether it's real or imagined. After the last one, I'm having trouble sleeping and I'm afraid of my shadows," or something like that. But there are, so multiple emails that seem to reference torture videos. And there was also a report from the FBI in this latest release, which talks about a purported video, which is supposedly Jeffrey Epstein torturing a woman who is like tied to the ground and she's naked and he's using a magnifying glass.
Oh,
what's that?
I thought that was the Prince Andrew one you were talking about, but never mind.
No. Yeah. And he is torturing her with a magnifying glass. He's like using the sun to burn her in different places on her body. And the FBI looked into it and they actually found the video, and they included a link for it in their write-up, although, you can't see that link. And I would imagine the video is probably no longer there. And they go into more detail and they describe the man who is in the video. His whole face is never shown. It's unclear whether or not it actually is Jeffrey Epstein. The original video was brought to the attention of an adult by an 11-year-old who found it online. I think that it was shared on Facebook And then they like took a screen recording of it because they were like, so disturbed and, show their parents. And then they talked to the FBI, and the FBI looked it up, and they were able to determine that it was a real video. It was actually, out there on the internet.
Yeah. I mean, this one is obviously concerning. There's not many contexts in which loving a torture video would be not weird. But I think figuring out who he sent it to would obviously like shed light on things.
Let me just real quick search for torture video, because there is.
I did. I found that there's a couple.
Yeah, but the one that, so he's emailing somebody, where are you? Are you okay? I love the torture video. He sends this email to somebody on April 24th. They respond on April 25th at 1 a.m. And he says, I am in China. I will be in the U.S. the second week of May. And then Jeffrey Epstein replies later that day, and he says, I hope to see you.
We don't know if it's a boy or girl.
No, we don't. No. I mean, I'm just, the colloquial, okay, an individual. But at this time, at this exact time, Benjamin Netanyahu was in China, and then he came to the United States on May 18th for his first official visit to the Obama White House. Yeah. Just, I mean, just as a possibility. There is also another email where Jeffrey Epstein is granted a meeting with Netanyahu. Hang on just a second. And of course, there are so many messages which mention Netanyahu. So I don't have it right now.
Okay. I'm ready to be done, man.
Yeah, we can be done.
Epsteined out. So, yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in. I don't think we got any more rants that came in. So appreciate everybody. Hit that thumbs up. Zach, you'll be back on your show tomorrow at 5 Eastern.
Yes, I will be back on my show at 5 Eastern. Yep.
Awesome. And I'll be back on mine at 1 p.m. Eastern on the Daily Herold. So thanks, everybody. You guys have a great rest of your Monday. And actually, I decided on my show that from now on, I'm not saying that. So I take that back, and have a shitty rest of your Monday. Mondays are always shitty. It's shitty Monday instead of happy Monday moving forward, Zach, just so you know.
It's already Tuesday for me, so.
Oh, well, lucky you. Happy Tuesday, Zach. The rest of you, shitty Monday. See you guys.
Peace.